What's up, it's Wills, back with more Miata mods. Today, we're going to be cleaning up this wiring harness, getting everything in place, and getting ready to put the turbo back in. So the reason I removed most of my harness was so I can give the engine bay a quick touch-up paint job. The engine bay paint was definitely looking a bit beat up, with a bunch of paint chips and a few rusty spots. I gave it a quick scuff and painted it with some color match paint and clear coat. I think it turned out awesome. Now it's time to get the harness cleaned up and installed. And this wire, this blue and yellow, is going to snip this off since I took out my power steering, and I'm going to cap it. Alright, next up, get this P-clamp and mount down the harness. Alright, next up, let's get these two wires sorted. These two wires connect to the front turn signals, and they run along here into the fender for the side markers. So the last owner had it connected like this. Pretty much just used some like wire nuts, and that's how this has been wired up. So let's go ahead and try to clean that up. Alright, so next up, I'm going to go ahead and do the side marker wiring. The previous owner, they just wing nutted it on, so if I wanted to take off the fender, I had to chop these off anyways. But what I'm going to use is, I got these connectors off Amazon, and I'm just going to use these so in case I ever need to take the fender off, I can unplug it. Alright, let's go ahead and get this rib nut installed. We got a bolt that's just a little bit smaller than this nut. We're going to put on the rib nut, just like that. Insert it into the wall. Hold the nut down. Alright, just like that, the rib nut's installed. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and mount up my HID wires. Ground for this one. All right, here's the wiring all back in place. Got it cleaned up as much as I could. Now we're ready to put the headlight back in. All right, so next up, I'm gonna go ahead and try to relocate this horn from my alarm. I just don't really like where it's at right now, and I'm gonna try to put it somewhere else. So first, let's just get it off. All right, so for the horn, I decided to mount it down there. Shouldn't block any airflow. Should be nice and hidden. So this gauge wire for my horn is super thin. I think it's like a 22, 24. Had to order some wire, but for these ones, I'm just gonna twist them together, use some solder butt connectors. I tried to use crimps, but it ended up just ripping the wires out. So this is the best option I got right now. So these connections look pretty good. Just gonna insulate it and then wrap it up. All right, next up, let's go ahead and clean up whatever mess of a wiring this is. I'm gonna start with replacing the negative ground, the new ground from Deca. Pretty much what I'm gonna do is just snip this off because this wire is pretty much done. This side is still in pretty good condition. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that running to the chassis ground. All right, now I'm gonna take the new cable and a new bolt. Just connect it here. Bit of dielectric grease. Hopefully this will prevent it from getting corroded. Alright, now that we got the new ground in, cleaned up the positive, let's go ahead, clean up all this rust, and repaint this area. going to use some of this duplicolored rust fix. Should convert the rust into a paintable surface. Alright, so the rust converter is dried. You can see all the rust has turned black. Go ahead and hit it with some paint. Use some of this VHT rewire chassis paint. All right, so now all the rust is taken care of. Everything's repainted. Should be good and protected for a new battery to get put in there. Also got new bolts, so it looks real nice. And that's it for this area. So lastly, let's go ahead and get the injector harness in. Add my homie Mikey, rewrap this, and then put new connectors for the injectors. I'll show you what they look like before, but this harness was pretty beat up before. So shout out to Mike. Thank you for helping me with my harness. You're the homie.